back to Inside City Hall. Despite experiencing some early financial setbacks, the popular bike-sharing program called City Bike is planning to double in size and scope over the next couple of years. This is being introduced in Queens for the very first time this summer, and the program is also expanding operations in parts of Brooklyn and Upper Manhattan. Joining me now to discuss the future of the program and more is Jay Walder, the CEO of Motivate, the global bike-sharing company that runs New York's City Bike program. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you.
My pleasure.
First, real quick, last I saw you, you were leaving for Hong Kong to run their mass transit system. What brought you back?
Well, I had a great time over there. It was a lot of fun, but New York's my hometown. And I love City Bike. I think it's such a neat addition to the New York landscape. It's been fun.
Well, tell me from your point of view, what is it really? Is it a commuter service? Is it for tourists? There are things about the pricing, the location, and the way it's been rolled out. I've seen people use it lots of different ways. What's the real goal?
But that's the beauty, right? Everybody uses it the way that they want to use it. Some people use it if you live a little distance away from a subway or a bus line. You may use it to do the so-called first mile or last mile of your trip. Other people hop on it to go cross town.
Yes.
Or to go places that aren't well served by the public transit system. I mean, I think that the fact of the matter is that our city has changed and developed, and lots of things are happening. And one of the things that City Bike actually allows you to do is use it any way you want. And you don't have to make those choices.
Well, but there are some choices you do have to make, though, right? I mean, if you use it, you normally have 45 minutes, right? So
sure.
You can't do an extended commute. It's not like you're going to go from one end of the island to the other if you can't do it in 45 minutes.
Well, but I mean, think about it. If you're in Midtown and you needed to go downtown, and let's say you went down the Hudson River Greenway, which
Yes.
is beautiful to ride down, you can easily do that in 45 minutes. No problem at all. I've done it myself, and I think it's fun.
Well, I mean, but what if you're in Midtown and you want to get to, you want to get to Queens, you want to get to Brooklyn?
You can make trips, and again, by the way, you can always dock a bike and take out another bike. There's nothing that stops you from doing that. But the vast majority of trips, I'd say probably 80 or 90% of trips, are about 20 minutes in length. So I think people are using it in exactly the way of quick trips, get on, get off, do different things, used it as many times as you want to use it in any single day. There's no constraint.
Anecdotally, there are racks on both sides of Chelsea Market where the New York One studios are, and this place is thick with tourists, and I don't see them using it. I mean, it's there's plenty to do. There's the High Line, and there's plenty of mass transit here. But it was one of the points that was made fairly early on in the first year of City Bike, that tourists would just sort of stay away in droves, even though they're used to it, in the European cities, but just not something that meshes well with the tourist experience.
I don't think that's actually the experience here, although it is in particular locations. So it's very popular with tourists by Central Park. It's very popular with tourists going down the Hudson Greenway. And one other thing that people love to do is to go over the Brooklyn Bridge. And so you pick up a bike on the Manhattan side or the Brooklyn side, let's say you ride over the Brooklyn Bridge, you go to Grimaldi's, you get some pizza, you go get some ice cream in Brooklyn Bridge Park, you take the subway back.
Okay,
I think
good.
people have actually enjoyed that.
Okay, and the pricing works for them? I mean, I know that for regular users, it's like about $100, right, for the month?
Well, for an annual subscription, it's $149. You ride as much as you want for the entire year. For a daily subscription, it's $10. You ride as much as you want for a day. I think it works really well for people.
Okay, so let's talk about the expansion. In fact, we have some maps to show where it's going to happen. There are, I understand, 79 new racks that are going to be put in Brooklyn this month, as a matter of fact. So fall 2015 expansion, I see both the Upper East Side and West Side of Manhattan over there on the left, and then over here the summer. This is, I guess, the hot stuff over here, straddling Queens and Brooklyn. How many bikes are going to go there? How many racks are going to go there?
So we start literally tomorrow in Queens. So Long Island City will open up tomorrow. We will have 91 new stations in Queens and Brooklyn, Long Island City, Greenpoint, Williamsburg, and Bed-Stuy. It's a tremendous addition to the City Bike network that we have right now. And then when we finish that, and we will start doing that tomorrow, we'll finish by the end of the month. And then we almost immediately move on to the Upper East Side and the Upper West Side. Another 48 stations will open up on the East Side and the West Side. We'll go up from 59th Street to 86th Street. And at that point, we'll call it a day for this year. And then we'll pick it up again in the spring.
It's quite ambitious. Let's take a look at the map showing exactly where these are going to go. So the blue ones at the bottom, that's what you have now. And all of these yellows are the new ones that are coming up. I see them dotting all over the Upper East Side, Upper West Side, which is going to make a lot of people happy. And then over on the Brooklyn-Queens side, clustered all over the place. A whole bunch of stuff going on there. Now, I have heard, and as you probably know, some of your biggest critics, or the program's biggest critics, are the people who use it and say that they want to do more, but that your company and City Bike are not rolling out fast enough, and in particular, that there's not enough density. And now I understand that you've part of your contract, your operating agreement with the city, says that you're going to do a certain level of density, but it also says that you're going to cap the total number of bikes someplace. So you've got kind of a tension there, right?
Well, first off, let me say, I think that the first thing that people said, I mean, I came back here about 8-9 months ago. The first thing that people said, actually, and I think it's the important part about it, is everybody first off said, I love City Bike. There usually was a comma and a but at the end of that sentence, and a lot of the comma and the but went to the way that City Bike was performing. The bikes weren't working well enough, the racks didn't work well enough, the app wasn't providing accurate real-time information. The first thing that we did, and the first thing that we've really worked to be able to do, is to fix all that. We have overhauled all the bicycles all winter. 6,000 bicycles were overhauled. We replaced the entire back-end system of City Bike, so it's a completely new system that's there right now. We went and literally on the street fixed 330 stations, 12,000 docks to be able to do that. The app has been completely redesigned and now has accurate real-time information. And, you know,
there are also a lot of issues about restocking the racks, right?
Yes, yes. And so we've now started all new processes of how to restock racks. So if you were watching us, for example, at Penn Station, you will see guys coming out literally trailing bicycles. One bicycle carrying 5 more bicycles to be able to restock racks. Same thing at the Port Authority bus terminal. We've set up valets. I mean, if you look at the Lower East Side, one of the issues that was there was not restocking the rack, but actually having a place to bring a bike back to it in the evening. So we started putting valets there so that people could bring a bike back to be able to do that. The other thing that we've done is we've also developed a whole new bicycle. There is a new City Bike now, and we hired a very well-known Olympic bike designer, a very famous guy named Ben Serrata. And rather than developing the kind of Olympic-style bicycles that he's developed before, he developed a new City Bike for us. And so today, we have 1,000 new City Bikes on the streets of New York that have gone out in the last month. When expansion rolls out in conjunction with the stations that you mentioned before, we'll be putting out another 1,400 bicycles that will be there as well. So it's a very, very exciting step in terms of everything that's happening. And
I mean, so the expansion that you've talked about really is quite ambitious for the end of this year. Is there an upper limit? Do you plan to keep expanding? So
I mean, the first thing I'd say about that, if we were having this conversation a few months ago, I'm not sure I could have promised that we would have had this expansion this year. I mean, I'm absolutely thrilled that it is taking place. I'm thrilled that it's going into Queens and Brooklyn where it's going. I think it really extends the network there. I think it fits in. You asked the question earlier on about the way that people might use City Bike. I mean, think about that. You work in Long Island City or Williamsburg. You want to get to downtown Brooklyn. It's a fantastic way to Dumbo to downtown Brooklyn to get across the borough in a way that you might not have seen before. So I'm thrilled that that's happening, and I don't know that we would have seen that necessarily before. But the plans are huge. I mean, we are literally doubling the size of City Bike by 2017. We will be going all the way up into Harlem in Manhattan. As I said, we'll be in Long Island City, we'll be in Astoria, we'll be in Cobble Hill, we'll be in Boerum Hill, we'll be in Gowanus, we'll be in Red Hook, we'll be in Park Slope, we'll be in Prospect Heights, we'll be in Crown Heights. This is huge. And City Bike, which already is the largest bike share program in the United States, will go from 6,000 bicycles, the number we have today, to 12,000 bicycles. And it happens fast. It'll happen by 2017.
We will certainly be watching. We're just about out of time, but I can't resist asking you, and I'm sure in the back of your mind you're always looking at the MTA, your old stomping grounds. What's one thing that, if you wanted to make a recommendation about what the MTA should do to make service better for all of us, what should they be doing?
You know, there's no easy answer to that. It's a fantastic system. I mean, I ride it all the time. I do ride City Bike, but I ride the MTA all the time. I think the biggest thing that they have to keep doing is keep investing in the capital program, keep investing in the system, and make sure that the cars, the tracks, the signals, and everything like that are really up to good repair.
If we could go inside and see, you know, when they talk about the signals, if we could go and see what's going on in those tunnels and so forth, would it freak us out? Is it like old Edison wiring from 100 years ago?
Let's just say it's not exactly modern technology.
Very good. Thanks very much. Very good to see you. We'll be watching the expansion of the City Bike program and look forward to talking with you again real soon.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.
We're going to take a short break now. When we come back, while other presidential candidates are going full steam ahead on the campaign trail, the Vice President of the United States is biding his time. Could the strategy pay off, or is he too late to make a serious run? I'll talk about that and more with the New York One Wise guys. Later on tonight, I'll sit down with Vishal Agrahakar from NYU's Brennan Center for Justice. We'll talk about challenges facing the landmark Voting Rights Act as it gets set to turn 50 years old. Stay with us.